I am back to talk about more skincare basics while I get ready. And today I wanted to talk about proper hydration and also how to keep that moisture locked in. In my last video, I was talking about the importance of vitamin C. I want to start this off by talking about the building blocks of great skincare before getting into exfoliation, because first you have to have a great foundation before you could start to use these actives on the skin. At least that's my opinion. I feel like I need a little corrector today, so I'm going to start with that. But anyway, as I was saying, so the actives are disruptors. I mean, they could disrupt the skin, so you have to be really careful, and you have to know what you're doing, obviously. And they can be very beneficial, exfoliants and whatnot, physical or chemical. But you don't want to abuse your skin. Now, the most important thing is to be able to choose the correct moisturizer for your skin type. And obviously that is going to run the gamut for everybody, depending on what their skin type is. But the main thing is you obviously need a proper source of moisture, like to attract water to the skin. So like hyaluronic acid is amazing. But I am a fan of using occlusives to keep that moisture barrier intact and keep your beautiful moisturizers with the great ingredients actually in your skin doing what they're supposed to do. First of all, please excuse the lighting. I hope it's going to be okay. I'm actually getting ready. It's like super early for me. Like right now, I'm usually not up this early. Today I had to be. So I'm hoping that the lighting is going to be all right, like with this. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. So my last video, I was talking about vitamin C and the importance of vitamin C. So that is actually an antioxidant to protect the skin from the ravaging effects of pollution and ultraviolet rays and all of that stuff. Those are extrinsic signs of aging, which is, from our environment. And the next thing for me, what I think is proper hydration and the importance of keeping the skin barrier intact. So important. And I feel like now it's getting more traction and people are talking about it more nowadays. Thank God. But, because that really is the foundation of everything, and it will really affect everything else that you do after that. Any type of, skincare that you're trying to fix a problem, you could actually be exacerbating it and making it worse. And then, of course, your makeup is not going to look good either. So as far as occlusive barriers go, you can use really emollient like moisturizers, like things with shea butter in it, stuff like that. But I like to do it, the final step is use Aquaphor. So it sounds crazy to some people. I know that this was also a trend. People were doing what's called slugging. It's of course been around forever. I've touched on this on my other videos. Today, I want to start doing where I'm just talking about one particular thing for each video as I'm getting ready. Now that I started doing this, I think I'd like to keep it like this. The last video I did, I really liked that I kept it very succinct and I just talked about one thing. So I think I'm going to continue to do that. So today, obviously, I am going to be talking about using an occlusive barrier. You could even use like petroleum jelly. It's a little bit lighter. This actually has lanolin and glycerin in it. Glycerin is a humectant as well. So that also attracts water to the skin. But the lanolin and the petrolatum, in this is actually what is going to keep the barrier. It doesn't sink into the pores. It actually sits on top of the layers of the skin. It seems scary to a lot of people because they're like, oh my God, I'm going to clog my pores. But it actually does not happen with this because of how it reacts. Like it really is just a protectant. And that's why a lot of dermatologists, they always recommend this even for, like damaged skin, eczema, anything like that, anything that needs to keep moisture in. So that is one of the building blocks to healthy skin, in my opinion, before you start venturing into the exfoliants. Because of course, everybody loves the exfoliants like retinol, glycolic acids, lactic acids. We even have enzymes. I mean, they're wonderful. They're great. But I feel like a lot of people overdo it a little bit. And you absolutely can't have too much of a good thing. Oh, obviously, I forgot to mention, I did my skincare before I jumped on today to get ready and talk about all this stuff. And last time I forgot to mention that this was the sunscreen that I was talking about, the Elta MD. So I've been using this, and it's a UV Clear Broad Spectrum SPF 46. Every day, of course, SPF, always, even in the wintertime. So getting back to the moisture barrier. So another thing too that is in here that a lot of people kind of shy away from is mineral oil. Now, that's one of the things too that a lot of dermatologists will touch on, is that there's a lot of ingredients that are vilified that are not necessarily bad for the skin. Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor, and you have to assess, you know, like how your skin reacts to things, and, you know, if you have any allergies or anything like that, you could do like a small patch test with anything that, if it's the first time that you're going to be using, you use like a little bit on a certain like inconspicuous area on your skin, wait 24 hours and make sure that everything is cool, and then you could proceed. But anyway, the mineral oil. So mineral oil is actually extremely refined. The same thing with like petroleum jelly. I mean, obviously it comes from the petroleum industry, but it is crazy refined, and it's been used for, oh my God, decades. So it is generally safe, and it does have benefits to the skin. Now, one thing that I really like about doing this, especially in the wintertime, because now I've been hearing a lot from patients and friends and family, and so many people are telling me that they're getting all of this flaking, and I would be prone to that too before I started doing, you know, this occlusive barrier in the wintertime. There's a difference between dry skin, like lacking oil, which is like, you know, the sebum that's produced like in our pores. There's a difference between that and lack of water, like dehydration, dehydrated skin. You know, that tends to look like more dull, more sallow looking, and it just, you know, also loses its plumpness. And, you know, so that is actually what this Aquaphor would help. Obviously, the not only the cold is causing dehydration, but the heat inside, you know, so that is actually wreaking havoc on our skin too. So that is another thing. A humidifier is very, very helpful. I sleep with a humidifier every single night in the wintertime. I actually start that in the fall, and that not only helps just even my breathing and all of that inside, but also my skin. I definitely see a difference. And of course, going to be drinking plenty of water and eating healthy foods and all of that stuff. So that all works in tandem. But for the occlusive barrier, basically what you're going to do is you're going to use your nourishing moisturizer, any serums. You always go from thinnest to thickest. So the thinnest serums, with the exception of oil, because oil has larger molecules usually, so the molecular structure is a little larger. So that doesn't penetrate as deeply as like a serum would, for instance, because it's water-based. So you put those thin serums, water-based serums, those go on first on the skin, and then you build from there. And then the very last thing would be your oil. And then on top of that, after a few minutes and that sinks in, then you put a layer of Aquaphor or petroleum jelly. I prefer this. So when you're using that, you don't necessarily have to slather it on. I mean, I've seen people do it, and that was part of the trend. I don't know if you saw it. It was like all over TikTok. Oh my God. These people were... They looked like, it was actually kind of comical, because they were doing like a whole show of it. They would like take this and like literally squeeze it on their face. I was like, good Lord. But for the most part, you just take like maybe like a nickel to a quarter size amount. You know, sounds like a lot, but you know, you will see it on your face. It will be like a little bit shiny, but it will dissipate. Like some of it will rub off, but the main thing is you're going to have that layer sitting on top of your skin, and whatever is underneath is just going to be able to do what it's supposed to do, because it's not going to be like evaporating from your face. Now, what this also helps, which many people don't know, is sometimes it actually helps to keep your makeup like adhered onto your skin even more, and like longevity of your makeup, because your skin is balanced. So that really, really helps. And not only just for the comfort, but even for the overall look of it. I feel like doing bronzer today. I didn't do bronzer yesterday. Okay, so besides the overall look of it and the comfort, and of course, so your skin is going to be balanced, everything is going to look better. Then when you do your exfoliation, the chances are you're not going to be causing irritation, further irritation and dryness, and oh my God, it's so uncomfortable, and it doesn't look good either, especially if you're going to have like random spots coming up. It could even give you like inflammatory, like acne. Nobody wants that. So that is my advice. My main advice is to please be very kind to your skin and nourishing. Like, make sure that you nourish your skin. And after you do all of that, this occlusive barrier really, really helps in keeping all of those beautiful ingredients working while you sleep. Now, I'm also a huge fan of skin cycling because of giving your skin a break, and because I'm all about like being really gentle with your skin, but working smart, you know, like with the exfoliants. So that is what I'm going to continue to talk about on subsequent videos, like as I'm getting ready. And then next time, hopefully it'll be a little bit lighter outside. So it is not going to seem so dark. I hope like the lighting is okay and it doesn't look like too distracting. I think I'm going to do like a pinky peach today. So there is one caveat about this Aquaphor. When the only time I ever use an occlusive barrier is in the evening when I am using a really nourishing moisturizer. I never want to put this Aquaphor on my skin with an active underneath, like an exfoliant. Oh my God, like retinol. Obviously, anything like that, it can cause whatever ingredient you have underneath to work even better, and you don't necessarily want that because you could wake up with some major irritation. So I always suggest to do the slugging with nourishing ingredients underneath. I am obsessed with ceramides, and I'm going to do another targeted video with ceramides. Now, if you look back on my other videos, I did talk about all of these things, but I realized, you know, so now I'm really trying to condense and keep everything, you know, like compartmentalized, because I'm like, I think that will be easier to follow, because in case you haven't noticed, I could be very chatty. And sometimes I get a little carried away and I start to go off on tangents. So I'm like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go one by one, and that's how we're going to approach it. So I'm hoping that this helps. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Give me some feedback, or if there's any particular questions that you have, anything that you'd like to hear my opinion on, I would be more than happy to go over it. So thank you for joining me. I'm very happy to have you here. Like I said, leave a comment. I also have my link tree down below, and all the products that I use today will be all linked down if you're curious. So on my link tree, there is an icon at the very top, and it's a little envelope. So that is my direct email. So if you have a question that's a little bit longer, or if you want it to be more private and you don't want to comment, you could just email me directly with any questions, and I would be more than happy to go over anything with you. And once again, have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will see you again next time.